going, guys? So, Israel is on fire to the point where the city of fire, or the city of fire of Torah, is on fire. Not physically, but I think they said that there's going to be about 100 or 200,000 protesters from the left wing, and about 500,000, half a million protesters from the right wing, actually, in Jerusalem. And they're going to be protesting on opposite sides, so to speak, of the of town, I guess, or adjacent sides of town. I'm not really sure. So, you know, for those of you guys who want to go say a bracha, there's a special bracha you say upon seeing 600,000 or more Jews in one place. You know, you could go do that. Well, you know, guys, I just want to say, you know, kind of tongue-in-cheek to start off with. It's a shame that the Arab parties didn't win the elections, you know, didn't have a majority in the Knesset, because, you know, the people who are protesting today would see a real theocracy. They would see a real theocracy. Israel would have a theocracy. But all jokes aside, guys, you know, if you talk to some of these people, some of these protesters, you know, I don't think, as I said many times before, I don't think Israelis, it doesn't matter if you're left wing or right wing, many Israelis don't actually understand what democracy is. How do I know that? Because, first of all, they don't even know what they're protesting against. Like, if you come up to many of them, they have no idea what the issue with the Supreme Court is. They just know that it's bad. They were told that it's bad. How is it bad? They have no idea. Why is it bad? They have no idea. A lot of them, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, are being paid to come protest. This is known. They're being paid 150 to 250 shekels plus gas money to come from outside cities in Israel. By outside, I mean the periphery cities, north and south, to come to Tel Aviv and come to protest. They have no idea what they're even protesting about. They're protesting for democracy, democratia, or like what I like to call the religion of democratia-ism. You know, my friends, you know how I know that these people are full of, you know what, full of complete crap? I'll tell you how I know they're full of complete crap. The person, because they're trying to get this person out of office. They even said, we don't even care about the judicial reform thing. Even if they give us what we want with the judicial, they stop the judicial reform, we're gonna keep going until we get this guy named Bibi out of office, right? Okay. So the guy that you hate most in the world, than anyone else, than anything else, he's like your enemy number one. He's the bane of your existence. He's the same guy. It's the same guy who locked you down, who fined you, who imposed and coerced to give you the you-know-what, this, right? And you didn't say a word. Maybe some of you, very small amount of you, said a word, came out, maybe a little bit in Tel Aviv, maybe a little bit in some other places in Jerusalem. But most of you, totally silent, right? And now you're coming out, ladies and gentlemen, something smells like rotten fish from Pier 17 once again. Once again. You know what that fish is, my friends? The fact that a lot of this stuff is funded from the outside. It's funded by people in America, entities in America, the Democratic Party, the U.S. State Department, entities in the EU that are funding NGOs in Israel for years and years and years, even before Americans started funding this, American leftists. Ladies and gentlemen, we had guys like Ehud Barak giving speeches at these protests. A friend of Jeffrey Epstein. We had guys like Yuval Noah Harari, a spiritual leader of World Economic Shmorim. Ladies and gentlemen, this is horse crap of the highest order. Guys, you know the irony of this whole thing? The irony of this whole thing. These people, the protesters, the leftists who are protesting, the actual physical foot soldiers, are very, very, actually in reality, very religious. The problem is, guys, their religion has nothing to do with Hashem. Hashem is not involved in any way, shape, or form. I mean, he is involved. He's always involved, right? Einod milvado. But in terms of their dogma, Hashem is not in the picture. In their minds, right? In their consciousness. If they only used I'm gonna kind of emulate Rabbi Mizrahi. If you only use the same zrizut, the same energy that you use to protest and burn and kill, as you are behaving like a liberal lefty, you use it for Torah and the land of Israel, you would be tzaddikim, man. Ladies and gentlemen, these people would be tzaddikim. They would be the most religious people in Israel, the most religious people the Jewish nation has ever known. If they only use that koach, that power, for Torah in the land of Israel, we would, I don't know where we would be. Mashiach would come. We would have peace in the world. We would have, I don't know what it would be. I can't even imagine it. Maybe I can't imagine it. My friends, this is all orchestrated from the outside. These people are full of it. They don't even know what they're doing. Guys, the only thing I have to say is unity will come when these people realize, and this is something that I asked my friend Avi Barak, who is a former voter for the left wing, let's say. I can't say he's a former leftist, but he's a former voter. He even told me that he never thought that he'd stand outside the home of a guy by the name of Nitzan Horowitz, the guy who eventually became the Minister of Health, who Avi used to vote for in Meretz. This will end when the people who are now protesting wake up and realize that they are in the same, what's called voyage of the damned, the same poison boat as the people who they're protesting against. Ladies and gentlemen, I went to the funeral of those two boys that were killed in Har Bracha. I know for a fact that most of the people at that funeral, most of them, let's say 80%, I'm being generous, took the, right? And most of the people that are protesting right now, the leftists, also took the, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's in the same boat. When everybody realizes that they're in the same boat, again, I always say this about Bibi, people like Bibi, and also Bennett, who made it even worse at that time, from the years 2020 to 2022. You know, nothing happens in a vacuum. Nothing happens in a spiritual vacuum. Bibi, unfortunately, is getting his just desserts. Leftists they're trying to give him just desserts because of perceived, I don't know, champagne and cigars and stuff he did with newspapers, and even stuff he did with submarines, which they're not even going after him for, supposedly, like, for some reason. They think that that's the focal point. What they don't realize is that the focal point is not that. Hashem has other plans, my friends. Hashem has other plans. And by the way, if Bennett thinks he's going to get away with stuff, he's mistaken. If Saar thinks he's going to get away with stuff, mistaken. Yuli Edelstein, get away with stuff, mistaken. Anybody else who was involved, pretty much like, I would say 95% of the Knesset, was involved in torturing us from the years 2020 to 2022, if they think they're going to get away with stuff, sadly mistaken, my friends. There's probably one or two guys, I would say Ben Gvir and this Ethiopian MK, Gadi Avarkan, who's not even in the Knesset anymore, who did not torture us during those 2 years. Unfortunately, Bezalel Smotrich, Mr. finance minister, Mr. wonderful English speaker, was one of the people who said that, people like myself, should not go back to normal life. Ladies and gentlemen, Hashem has the system called Mida Keneged Mida. He can use anyone and anything to exact, the reaction that's coming to someone who did not so nice things to other people, to Jews. And the Jews they did this to, it was everybody. It was right wing and left wing. And my friends, that's how this is going to end, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe Hashem has other plans. I don't know. Hashem has a way of surprising us. But what I will say in looking at all of this, if Hashem doesn't intervene in this, it's not going to end well. Chas v'shalom, it should end in civil war. Tonight we're already seeing what's going on in Jerusalem. It's not a surprise to me, guys, that this is happening about a week before Pesach, a week before Shabbat HaGadol, the month of Nisan. My friends, there's nothing accidental here. There's absolutely nothing accidental. There's nothing accidental from a spiritual perspective. There's also nothing accidental from kind of a more practical perspective. These people are being funded, my friends. Yes, the protesters are real. They're coming, many of them are coming unfunded, but a lot of them are funded. A friend of mine just asked me, don't these people work? I said, yeah, they do work. My friends, the pilots, the Elal pilots came out and said, hey, we're not going to fly, right? Okay, the mechanics who fix the engines, who fix the tires, the wheels of these planes, they are not centrists or center-left or left-wing elitists. Who are they? They are the people who voted the right-wing government in. They are blue-collar. My friends, this is not even a left or right issue anymore. This is an elitism versus regular man, regular Joe, blue-collar issue. This is exactly what this is, my friends. Same thing in America, same thing in Europe. Anyway, my friends, it's really incredible. If only these people use this power for Torah and mitzvot in the land of Israel, to fight for the land of Israel, who knows where the nation would be, guys? Who knows? All right. Chodesh Nisan Tov, and talk to you.